Senate is a quorum call.
I ask that we vitiate with a quorum call.
Without objection.
Thank you. Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent to use a prop.
Without objection.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I rise today to raise an alarming issue. The Chinese Communist Party is stealing sensitive intellectual property developed using your tax dollars. We are all too familiar with the threat of Chinese espionage. It wasn't too long ago Iowans raised the alarm on Chinese nationals digging up our seeds and stealing our agriculture technology. Just last month, a Navy sailor was convicted after China paid him in exchange for highly classified data about Navy ships. Unfortunately, this is just the tip of the iceberg. Loopholes in the Small Business Innovation Research and Small Business Technology Transfer programs, which help develop critical technology supporting America's national security, are being exploited by China and other foreign adversaries to steal sensitive technology. Over 40 years ago, the SBIR program was established as America's seed fund to serve as an innovation pipeline to support our warfighters and maintain a technological edge. While the program has seen its fair share of successes, we must be honest that how it currently operates is benefiting China at the expense of our warfighters. This summer, I released a report exposing that hundreds of millions of dollars of technology funded by your taxes through the Pentagon's SBIR program are vulnerable to Chinese espionage. My report found that in 2023 and 2024, 835 applications for SBIR, STTR funding were flagged for having foreign risks. Yet only 303 were denied for their ties to adversaries. Even worse, a lack of foreign due diligence standards across government has opened the door for exploitation. Some agencies denied 100% of flagged applications, while other agencies only denied 1%. Even one case is too many. I shared my report with the Pentagon and asked them to investigate further. The Pentagon agreed with me that there are significant threats to our national security that must be addressed. My Innovate Act does just that by implementing foreign due diligence standards across government to ensure we unleash the golden age in America instead of serving as a subsidy for Beijing. Another defect limiting the effectiveness of the SBIR program is the exploitation of the program by a small number of companies, often called SBIR mills. The program too often serves as a private, taxpayer-funded ATM for these select few businesses. In the past decade, 25 companies in the Pentagon's SBIR program, which is just 0.5% of overall award recipients, received 18% of the funding. That's over $2.3 billion, folks. That is a $92 million windfall for each. No wonder hardworking folks in Iowa have a hard time viewing these as truly small businesses. Even worse, these so-called SBIR mills too often produce nothing more than policy white papers. despite many of their business models being largely dependent on your tax dollars. Folks, as a combat veteran, let me tell you, a white paper is not supporting our warfighters. Our men and women in uniform deserve the best, most innovative technology to protect themselves, defend our nation, and deter our adversaries. But when it comes to protecting and defending us, what do these white papers provide? I suppose we could fold them into paper airplanes. I can't throw it on the floor of the Senate, but you get the drift. Okay? We need to strengthen the program to ensure that SBIR serves a greater role than producing a paper army. The Innovate Act fixes these egregious misuses of taxpayer funds and ensures award dollars go to the best and the brightest entrepreneurs, not grant writers who have learned how to game the system on the taxpayer's dime. My bill will reorient SBIR to its original purpose, providing merit-based support for American innovators. It course corrects the program back to helping true American startups get off the ground. It streamlines the proposal process and establishes a new Phase 1A award to attract new entrants with strong commercialization potential. Lastly, the Innovate Act allows new strategic breakthrough awards of up to $30 million at the Pentagon, DOE, NASA, HHS, and NSF. These awards with required matching funds will move our most promising technologies out of the lab and into production for our warfighters, scientists, and other medical professionals. Time is of the essence. The United States cannot and should not delay these reforms any longer. No more waste. No more giveaways to Beijing. Every dollar must advance innovation that keeps America strong and secure. We must act now to ensure maximum impact of every dollar invested, to secure our edge against our adversaries, and unleash a new golden age for America's small, resourceful innovators. Small businesses everywhere are excited about the Innovate Act and stand ready to deliver the technologies of tomorrow. Let's make that happen. I seek unanimous consent to pass the Innovate Act. Thank you. And with that, Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent that the Senate proceed to the immediate consideration of my bill, which is at the desk. Further, I ask that the bill be considered read a third time and passed, and that the motion to reconsider be considered made and laid upon the table.
Is there objection?
Mr. President, reserving the right to object.
Senator from Massachusetts.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I thank you. Unfortunately, I cannot support the senator from Iowa's proposed legislation. I agree that we must reauthorize the Small Business Innovation Research and Small Business Technology Transfer programs before their authorization expires at the end of this month. However, the legislation proposed by the senator from Iowa would decimate American innovation conducted by small businesses and make wholesale changes to the law without proper data, full information, or appropriate vetting. I am opposed to this bill because, one, the best research proposals will not be funded. Two, technologies like the world's smallest heart pump, oxygen delivery systems for military submarines, and technology to improve radiation threat detection in public spaces would not exist if the senator's legislation was the law. Three, Successful, innovative small businesses will be punished solely because they are successful in the program. 4, small businesses will avoid pursuing the riskier, more cutting-edge ideas that keeps American innovation at the forefront, ahead of our rivals in the world. 5, agencies will no longer be able to fund technology that aids their mission if that technology comes from a successful small business. And this is only a fraction of the concerns that not only I have, but the SBIR and STTR communities have raised with me. These programs have gone above and beyond the expectations of those who enacted it. Since the program was established, more than 30,000 small businesses have provided $70 billion in research and development to the United States government. For every SBIR dollar spent, the program returns anywhere from $22 to $33 in economic benefits. These programs work because of the merit-based competition nature of the programs. Darwinian, paranoia-inducing competition. That's what wins. Competition drives the innovation, and meaningful innovation always comes from our most nimble allies, small businesses, not big corporations. It's the small businesses that innovate. And then big companies might want to purchase that breakthrough, but it never comes from those big companies. And that is why in May, I introduced legislation to not only make these successful programs permanent, but further increase their reach and their efficacy. My SBIR STTR Reauthorization Act of 2025 would, 1, make permanent the SBIR and STTR programs, 2, maintain their merit-based competitive nature, 3, increase research funding for small businesses and partnering research institutions, 4, strengthen commercialization efforts, 5, maintain the tough bipartisan foreign due diligence program established by our predecessors, Senators Cardin and Paul, just 3 years ago, which is working. And 6, dismantle barriers to increase participation from underserved populations and new entrants. I am greatly disappointed that we have not been able to come to a bipartisan agreement on how to reauthorize these programs, though my Democratic colleagues and I have continued to show up to negotiate in good faith. However, I am glad that the House Small Business and House Science Committees sensibly came together on a bipartisan, clean, one-year extension for the programs. This extension was unanimously reported out of the House Small Business Committee just yesterday. Should that legislation come to the Senate and the senator from Iowa blocks my reauthorization legislation, I will support the House's one-year extension. It is important that these programs do not face arbitrary, wholesale changes that would weaken American innovation and small businesses' role in it. It is also critical that these programs do not face a lapse in reauthorization, as it would set the program and our innovation ecosystem back by years. Therefore, Mr. President, I object.
The objection is heard. Senator from Massachusetts.
I ask unanimous consent that the Small Business Committee be discharged from further consideration of S. 1573 and the Senate proceed to its immediate consideration. Further, I ask that the bill be considered, read a third time, and passed, and that the motion to reconsider be considered made and laid on the table.
Is there objection?
Mr. President.
Senator from Iowa.
Reserving the right to object. Ranking Member Markey, I continue to want to work with you to find common ground and pass SBIR reauthorization with bipartisan reforms. But the status quo will not work. I will not continue to allow China to win and let our war fighters lose. My Innovate Act will stand up to Beijing, invest in the best and the brightest, and ensure that America maintains our technological advantage. It is irresponsible to put this program on autopilot through a permanent reauthorization, especially without sufficient safeguards to protect taxpayer funds from abuse. Make no mistake, Beijing is clinking their glasses at the thought of the status quo continuing. After all, we are talking about America's national security. I am willing to work with you on any of the reforms on the table in both my bill and in yours to find a common sense solution and one that will work for both sides. However, as the proposal stands, on behalf of our warfighters and our nation's security, I object.
The objection is heard.
And Mr. President, I just want to thank the senator. I'm happy to continue to negotiate with you. Again, in my opinion, a one-year extension gives us the time to do that. But thank you, Mr. President.